Here's a harsh truth. If you're following traditional retirement advice, you're being played. While you're putting 10% into your 401k and hoping for the best, there's a tiny group of people using completely different rules to build generational wealth. Today, I'm exposing exactly what they do differently and why the financial industry doesn't want you to know about it.
Welcome to Retire Rich. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into strategies that can transform your financial future. If you're serious about building wealth, you're in the right place. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to tear down the 4 huge myths that keep people from getting truly wealthy. First up, the great retirement lie. Then we'll dive into the income trap, and I'll show you why a big paycheck can actually make you poorer. After that, we'll look at the unbeatable game that the pros really hope you never figure out. And we'll wrap it all up with the ownership mindset, which is the key that unlocks everything else. You ready? Let's get into it. Okay, let's start with the biggest, most fundamental lie you've been told about money. The one that says the whole point of this game is just to die with the highest score. You know, the financial industry has done a brilliant job of selling you this idea that your net worth, that's the ultimate report card for your life. But it's not. It's actually a really hollow, deeply flawed way to measure a life well lived. I mean, this slide right here shows the huge difference in how people think. Most people, the 99%, they're basically trained to see money as the final boss. You know, just hoard it, grow it, protect it, and then die on top of a giant pile of cash like a dragon. The whole game is just about accumulating more. But the truly wealthy, they get it. They understand that money is just a tool. It's fuel. Its only real value comes from what you can turn it into. Experiences, security, memories, making an impact. They're not just trying to rack up points. They're trying to win at the game of life. So this forces you to ask a really important question, one that most people just avoid their entire lives. What is the actual point of having money? Is it just so you can refresh an app on your phone and see a bigger number, or is it to actually do something with it? You know, the author Bill Perkins, in his book Die with Zero, he argues that every single dollar you don't spend is basically wasted life energy. Think about it. You traded your precious, limited hours on this planet for that money. To just die with it sitting in an account means you gave away parts of your life for absolutely nothing. This way of thinking completely changes the rules. See, the wealthy know you can invest your money in 2 things. For financial returns, sure, but also for life returns. They invest in experiences that pay what's called a memory dividend. A trip you take with your family when you're 35, that pays out joy and stories and connection for the next 50 years. That memory actually grows in value over time. But that same trip at age 75, the return is so much smaller. Your health is your most valuable asset, and it's the one that goes down in value the fastest. As your health declines, so does your ability to turn money into real enjoyment. The same thing goes for giving. Giving your kids money when they're 30, when they're starting a family or a business, that can change their entire life. Giving them that same money when they're 60, well, it's just a footnote. Think about your life in these 3 stages, right? When you're young, you're rich in health and time, but you're broke. Then in middle age, you finally got the money, but your time is super scarce and your health is starting to go downhill. And then in old age, you have plenty of time again, but your health is just a shadow of what it used to be. The 99% solve for money, planning to finally enjoy it in that last stage when their ability to actually do so is at its absolute lowest. The wealthy know you can't just focus on one of those things. The real goal is to balance all 3 across your entire life. Waiting until you're 65 is a terrible deal because you've already traded away the one thing you can never get back, your health. Okay, so that leads us right into the second big lie, the income trap. This is that dangerous belief that a high salary is the key to wealth. It's probably the single biggest reason you see doctors and lawyers and big shot executives living paycheck to paycheck, totally drowning in debt even though they look successful on the outside. Let me be clear, income is not wealth. The incredible research in the book The Millionaire Next Door gave us these terms, and they are critical. It is not about what you earn. It is 100% about what you keep. The under-accumulators of wealth, the UAWs, they're masters at turning a 6-figure salary into fancy car payments, huge mortgages, and a net worth of basically 0. They play great offense in their career, but they have absolutely no defense. The prodigious accumulators of wealth, the PAWs, they might have a way lower income, but they are masters at building a fortress of wealth through just relentless discipline and focus. I mean, take the classic example from the book, Dr. North and Dr. South. Both are doctors. Both make a ton of money. But Dr. South, the UAW, he's obsessed with looking rich. That's his goal. He leases a new luxury car every couple of years, lives in the priciest neighborhood. His spending always goes up to meet or usually to exceed his income. Now, Dr. North, the PAW, he's obsessed with something different. financial independence. He drives a 5-year-old car, lives in a nice but modest house, and he meticulously budgets and invests everything that's left over. He spends his weekends planning his investments. Dr. South spends his weekends planning his next big purchase. And the result? Dr. North quietly becomes a multimillionaire. Dr. South, with that massive income, ends up with less than nothing. And you have got to destroy this myth that wealth is something you're just born into. The data from The Millionaire Next Door is absolutely clear. A shocking 80% of millionaires in America are first generation. They didn't get it from their parents. They didn't win the lottery. They built it, one disciplined brick at a time. They became paws. This stat right here is the ultimate proof that wealth isn't an accident. It is a direct result of specific habits and choices. It completely removes every single excuse you could possibly have. And look, this is not a new strategy. This is ancient, timeless wisdom. The number one rule from the richest man in Babylon is to pay yourself first. Before you pay your rent, before you pay the government, before you pay for anything else, you take a piece for yourself, at least a tenth, and you put it to work building your future. This is not a savings tip. It is a law of personal finance. The UAWs, they pay everybody else first and then try to live on the scraps. The PAWs pay themselves first always and build their empire on that non-negotiable foundation. It's a total shift in priority from serving your bills to serving your future. Okay, so you're maximizing your life, you're saving aggressively. Now what? You have to invest. And this brings us to the third lie, which is probably the most expensive one of all. This seductive idea that you can and that you should try to beat the stock market. This single lie funds the entire financial services industry. The way the average person invests is just pure gambling. It's fueled by ego and whatever they're yelling about on financial TV. They hear about some hot stock and they pile in, hoping to get rich quick. Or even worse, they give their money to some expensive, actively managed fund, paying huge fees for an expert who claims he can see the future. The wealthy do the complete opposite. They understand they can't predict what's going to happen, so they don't try to pick the winning horse, they just buy the whole racetrack. With low-cost index funds, they own a tiny piece of every important company, which guarantees they capture the entire market's long-term growth with almost no cost or effort. And if you have any doubt about this strategy, just listen to the master himself. Warren Buffett, the most successful investor of all time, has said over and over that the best path for almost everyone is a simple, low-cost S&P 500 index fund. He even made $1 million bet against the smartest guys in the room from the hedge fund world. He bet that a boring old index fund would beat their hand-picked genius portfolios over 10 years. And you know what? He won. It wasn't even close. The so-called experts with all their PhDs and complex strategies got crushed by a simple, automated fund. So why do these experts always lose? Well, this slide shows the simple, brutal math. It's not just that they can't reliably pick winners. It's that their fees are huge, guaranteed weight dragging you down. An index fund might charge you, 0.04% a year. An active fund can charge you 1, 2, even more percent, plus all these hidden costs. That little difference is like a financial cancer. Over 30 years, a 1.5% fee can literally eat hundreds of thousands of dollars of your potential wealth. It's a hidden tax that makes it mathematically almost impossible for you to win in the long run. So here's the crazy part. The winning strategy is so simple, it's almost insulting. First, you open a tax-advantaged account like a Roth IRA. This lets your money grow tax-free. Second, you buy one single, diversified, low-cost fund, like a target date fund that automatically handles all the risk for you as you get older. Third, you automate your investments. You make it a habit that just happens, like your electric bill. And fourth, and this is the hardest and most important step, you leave it alone. You ignore the news, you ignore the market crashes, you ignore the experts, you just let the system work for you for decades. That's it. That's the whole strategy. We've covered the what and the how, but honestly, none of it matters without this final piece, the mindset. The fourth and maybe the most damaging lie is the belief that wealth is something that just happens to other people. You know, that it takes luck, or some special genius, or being born into the right family. This is a psychological prison that you build for yourself, and it keeps 99% of people from ever even taking the first step. Napoleon Hill, in his masterpiece Think and Grow Rich, was so clear about this. Wealth does not start with a spreadsheet. It doesn't start with an investment. It starts with a white-hot, burning desire. Not a wish, not a hope, a definite, all-consuming obsession with a specific financial goal. You have to want financial freedom with every part of your being, so much that you're willing to burn the boats and stake your entire future on your ability to make it happen. A weak desire just leads to weak efforts, and you guessed it, weak results. The story of Edwin C. Barnes is just legendary proof of this idea. He showed up at Thomas Edison's office totally broke and announced that he was going to be his business partner. Not an employee, a partner. Edison was so intrigued by his nerve that he gave him a job sweeping the floors. For years, Barnes just worked in the background, doing the grunt work, but he never lost sight of his purpose. He wasn't just working, he was waiting. And when Edison invented a new machine that his own sales team thought was a dud, Barnes saw his moment. He begged for a chance to sell it. His desire was so strong, he already knew he would succeed. And he went on to make a fortune, becoming Edison's partner, just like he said he would years before. Look, this all comes back to taking total ownership. These simplified laws from the richest man in Babylon are a perfect blueprint for that ownership mindset. They demand that you prioritize your own future. They command you to make your money work for you. They tell you to get advice from people who have actually done it, not from random people on the internet. They warn you not to gamble in things you don't understand, and they tell you to avoid the siren song of get-rich-quick schemes. This is the code of a financial owner, not a financial victim. So, here we are. You've seen the two playbooks laid out right in front of you. There's the path of the 99%, and it's paved with bad advice, high fees, and wasted life. It leads to a retirement of just hoping and praying. And then there's the path of the wealthy. It's built on discipline, on passive ownership, and a burning desire for freedom. It leads to a life of choice and fulfillment. The strategies are out in the open. The only question left is, which one will you choose?
That's a wrap on today's episode. If this helped you see money differently, smash that like button, subscribe to Retire Rich for more wealth-building strategies, and drop a comment telling me what topic you want next. Remember, your financial freedom starts with the choices you make today. I'll see you in the next one.